Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal Production channel here at YouTube, and welcome to another Friday review. Today I am here to give my thoughts on Spider on the World, the brand new fourth full-length album for Ravage, released on April 19th via both independently, again via the band, that would be digitally, again through the Bandcamp page, and on vinyl via Thrash with Power Records, which, if I am correct, that technically sounds like Al Ravage's sort of label, because the name, it's named after one of his review site, whatever, basically his Facebook and / Instagram page, whatever, where he does a lot of show reviews, album reviews, and so on. So it's still probably all self-released to begin with, so independent. Anyways, they're brand new, and since 2021's I believe if I got this correct, was it the Worldview or Worldwide Resistance? Again, it was an EP. That's the last original material, but it's also the first full-length album since 2017's The Return of the Spectral Rider album, which was basically a re-recording of their debut album, which was also titled Spectral Rider. So there it is right there. Again, this was given to me by Al Ravage anyways at the Frozen Time Fest here in Fresno. So there you go. So without further ado, this is now going to get to the portion where I'm going to basically list off the track listing and the time length and so on. So let's get right to that. And of course, we'll come back to my actual thoughts. So we'll see you on the other side. So for the tracks on Spider on the World, we have 10 tracks here, and it clocks in at the length of 41 minutes and 47 seconds. And so for these 10 tracks, we have Man-Made Ice Age, The Call to Order, which is only a 41-second instrumental. That is basically an intro, and I'll basically state that later. Then we get into Sign of the Spider, which is where it leads into. Then Ravage in Peace, Without a Trace, Amazon Burning, Corruption of Blood, the title track, From the Mouth of Pain, and then ending with Face of Infamy. And there you go, folks. There's your 10 tracks for Spider on the World. Alright, so here we go. Now, my thoughts for the album, I'm probably not going to go through each and every single song, go into full-on detail. Instead, I'm just going to tell you what I completely think as far as whether or not if I find anything to be good or find anything to be bad, mediocre, whatever. You get the point. So, what do I at least completely think of the album in general? Well, I think this is a pretty good album, and I'm definitely going to be very honest. I think this was a really solid album, and while I don't think you can necessarily say that, and of course, you could probably ask Al himself, he probably end up agreeing anyways, but nothing here is going to be total groundbreaking, but this is not really an album that's made for people who are looking for something to be groundbreaking. This is made and geared towards the more diehard heavy metal fan, the more traditional heavy metal fan, and just someone who just enjoys at least good traditional heavy metal, especially in a more modern format, at least it's recording, whatever, even though it is definitely a modern recording when it comes to, modern heavy metal. Whatever. And again, being traditional heavy metal. But really, when it comes down to it, compared to more modern recordings these days, whatever, it's definitely fairly raw. It is not, overproduced. It's got enough biting edge to it to give a lot of the songs, well, that that you really want, at least from a good modern traditional heavy metal album. It's got all of that. And I think with the opening songs like Man-Made Ice Age, which has got plenty of hooks. If there was one thing about this album that it has, it's got plenty of hooks. and it might be just as hookier than some of the previous albums begin with. It's really good. Then of course we have the kind of the 1-2 punch of basically the intro, instrumental, whatever, the call to order, which again, it does serve as an intro to, well, Sign of the Spider. Again, we got 2 songs, Sign of the Spider and Spider on the World, which are very, let's just say, very themed around the whole entire title of the album and the album cover and everything. So it kind of works within that, and they work with each other. So if anything, you kind of have to have the songs together. So it kind of works. It feels like the album is themed around a lot of the stuff that you probably see on the album covers. So it kind of has that, but it's not too deep. But it's still enough fun and a little enough sort of just at least sincerity that kind of make the songs at least sound, what they're supposed to be as far as lyrics are concerned. But still, there's definitely some great other tracks too. One of my personal favorites here, besides, let's say, Man-Made Ice Age or even Sign of the Spider, is Ravage in Peace, which is almost kind of Euro metal. Kind of reminds me of somewhere between UDO and Accept. It kind of has that feel to it. It's very Euro sort of old school German speed power metal. It's got that Gravedigger. It's got that sort of same sort of feel to it that I get from it, and I think it's a really good track. I think the only other song here that kind of is, it's not really a ballad, but it kind of pushes toward that, and that's Corruption of Blood. This one's a bit more of a slower song, and it starts kind of somber, but it's very dark, though, and it kind of gives you this bleakness in the way you probably get from a real good sort of old school, maybe U.S. power metal band, whatever, ones that try to write ballads, but they want to keep a real darkness to it, that kind of like in a way, a Metal Church we're definitely like during the early days, that sort of feel. And you kind of get that here with Corruption of Blood, and that's what I get. It's a really cool track. From the Mouth of Pain, and then the very last song, Face of Infamy, Amazon Burning. There's really not really a bad song on here. Every one of them, they've got a nice steadiness to it. The pacings all work, and it definitely varies between at least, like again, the tempos, but again, nothing completely too extravagant anywhere that kind of is going to make you go, whoa, holy shit. I mean, I'm not going to try and say that this is bare bones or average, but it's just, it kind of knows where it's supposed to be, and that's pretty much the album's strengths, and that's where Al and everyone else is at least as good at, as they know where their strengths are, and they know what not to do as far as weaknesses. And I think there's very little here. This is a very solid album from start to finish, and Al Ravage, of course, sounds just as good on this album. Everyone else does, even including his brother, again, the guitar player. Again, they all sound very good to begin with. And I think this is a really good, solid entry into their discography. And especially being an album full of original material. Again, this is their first full-length album since, Return of the Spectral Rider. However, in comparison to, let's say, since this was a re-recording, now I'm kind of going off a tangent here, but again, was it the one that's prior to this one, I believe, that I think was one that was on Metal Blade, I think, or is it not Metal Blade? I can't recall at this point. You know what it was? It was one that was on Metal Blade. That was the last of, at least, of original written material. I think that was like, 2009, 8 or something, maybe 10. Been a while for that one, so this really is kind of a surprise. Either way, it's definitely a solid album, and I don't know, it's pretty much up there right now as a good runner-up for one of their best albums right here. This is definitely a strong album in some cases, and it could be a contender for one of my favorites here from Ravage. And again, they're just one of those bands I think I find that the more that they keep going, the tighter they get. Meaning the tighter, I don't want to try and make you think I'm saying tired. It's tighter. So they definitely get more edgier. Now I'm kind of going a little places. Either way, you get where I'm going with. It's a good album, and I think it's a really solid album from begin with. Again, favorites again are going to be Man-Made Ice Age, again, the 1-2 punch of the Call to Order, slash the Sign of the Spider, Ravage in Peace, Corruption of Blood, Spider on the World, again, that's the title track, and then maybe possibly Face of Infamy, the final track. So there you go. Again, this is a brand new album, and I will do my best to leave you a link to their Bandcamp page, even to the website if let's say, copies of the vinyl record are still available. Again, please, I just want to make sure that you guys support Ravage and Al and everyone else. And again, if this sounds like an album that is up your alley, please go on it and support them. You'll like it. So there you go, folks. And before I completely end, if you have heard this album, you know what to do. You can leave your comments in the comments section below. And if you have any thoughts, again, whether they are either positive or negative, leave them all down there. Alright, that's it. I hope all of you enjoyed. This is Thrash saying I'm out, and I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone. Again, thank you to Al for sending this out to me via my Gmail to at least listen to this album. I know it took a while, but I'm not going to get into any of that. So I hope all of you enjoyed. Take care, everyone. Support Ravage.